Well guys, it's that time of year again. We have another big Valorant tournament starting and all the world's best teams are in attendance. Who's taking the trophy home? Well, only time will tell. But in today's video, we'll be going over 5 of the best teams you need to look out for in Masters Tokyo. We'll be talking about some of the storylines, discussing what's unique about each of them, and ultimately answering the question of who is most likely to win it all. Let's start with the obvious, the big winners of the last international event, and a team that has been looking stupidly scary all year round. We're of course talking about Fnatic. If we were making this video 2 weeks ago, we could be saying that Fnatic is yet to lose a game this year. They won the latest international event in VCT Lock-In, dropping just 2 maps total in the final against Loud. And then they just went and did it again in the EMEA League, only losing a single map in the entire 9-game season. Oh, did I mention that was while they were playing with a stand-in? And while they finally showed some weaknesses in the EU finals against Liquid, there's no reason to assume this Fnatic train isn't coming to a halt anytime soon. Of course, it's not just about expectations though, we wouldn't want it to stop, as Fnatic is led by the most extroverted, funny, and lovable IGL in the scene, Boaster. While Boaster might be best known for his great personality and funny stage walkouts, he is also a menacing leader taking control of insane players known by the names of Durka, Leo, Alpher, and Chronicle.
Have you ever asked yourself after a bad game, what am I missing? Or sought help from impatient friends? Or browsed desperately for answers that only bring up more questions? Your self-doubting days are over with Discovery, the first game-focused AI. Discovery is trained on the world's leading esports athletes to be your everyday personal coach. That's right, Discovery can help you improve your gameplay by giving you tips and strategies to take your game to the next level. Get started at ProGuides.com.
Durka is the type of demon duelist you wish you had in your ranked games, making a real argument to be listed as one of the top players of the year. He's never scared to take the first duel, always gets away with more than he should have, and can even win a nice clutch when he gets the position for that. Leo, on the other hand, is Fnatic's set initiator, and I couldn't think of a better player to fill the role. Leo's one of those players that you put on a role that's expected to not really frag as hard, and then he proceeds to do so anyway. This guy, like many of his teammates, is mean in a clutch, and is always reliable in the initiator role. He does everything right to set up Durka, and if for any reason Durka fails, he's there to headshot 3 people anyway. I mean, that's why he got the MVP award at VCT Lock-In. Alpha honestly isn't much different. He's Fnatic's Sentinel player, and not only does he click heads, he wins every clutch he's in, and he smurfs in pro play. But he's also done what many of you guys consider to be the impossible: get to Radiant with a 60Hz display and low FPS. When Alpha started playing Valorant, he had no interest in becoming pro, but I guess you can say that he had no choice after showcasing his raw skill in ranked. By joining a local team and even winning 1v5s against previous iterations of Fnatic in scrims, not long after he was signed to the team, and now he's putting up performances like these full time. Finally, we got Chronicle, an existing international champion prior to joining Fnatic in the form of Masters 3, but also probably the best flex player currently in the scene. This guy plays whatever his team needs him to play, and he always puts on a masterclass regardless of what character he's put on. I've already kinda said it before, but the recurring theme with this Fnatic roster is that there's just no upgrades available. Each one of these players are one of, if not the best players on their role, and that plus good leadership is why this team is as good as it is. Of course, Tokyo won't just be the Fnatic show though. In fact, they just lost their first game of the year to Liquid in the EU finals. Even at Lock-In, the event they won, it was only a matter of a round or two or the Brazilian powerhouse of Loud would have taken it home instead. And it's good that we mentioned Loud too, as they're one of the biggest contenders to take the title in Tokyo. They've absolutely farmed the NA League, and it's certainly safe to say that they're the best team in all the Americas right now. Oh, and not in the way you might expect at first either. Loud isn't just good because their dedicated duelist player Aspas is an absolute monster. And they don't just rely on crazy individual skill of players like Les and Tuis. Because guess what? Loud's team is damn smart too. If you're wondering why in pro play you're seeing so much of the Viper, Harbor, Sky comp usually combined with a Jet and a Killjoy, well, that's all on them. They invented it, and they made it meta. Back in February this year, they first brought out this signature comp on Pearl, and not long after they started to use it on Icebox, Haven, and even Lotus with a lot of success. Seeing these incredible results, it didn't take long for half of the NA scene to copy Loud's ideas and implement them as well. Virtually every NA team nowadays is playing the exact comp on Pearl. A lot of teams have experimented with it on some of the previously mentioned maps in Haven, Lotus, and Icebox. And another top NA team in NRG has even used a close variation of the Loud comp on Bind, a map where Loud themselves aren't even playing it. Loud didn't just define the whole NA meta though, it gets better. They're also the first team to get their very own limited edition Burger King meal. And that comes on top of them being the pride of Brazil and the primary team expected to challenge Fnatic in the current run of dominance. I guess I should be completely honest though, because as of recently, Loud has almost become a bit boring to watch, just knowing how good they are. Both tactically and mechanically, every game you know they're going to make short work of their opponents. They're super well drilled, so they rarely make mistakes, and for my liking, they're almost a bit too consistent. But then again, that's why I can't wait for a top EU team like Fnatic to pose them a challenge. Not just because each time they faced thus far, the games were crazy close and amazing content, but also just to see how Fnatic fares against a Harbor, which is an Asian they never see in their local games within Europe. I'm counting the days till we see those two vastly different regions and metas clash again. And if you end up watching anything, it better be this great rivalry. There's more teams attending though, and the next two coming up are always true wildcards that continue to surprise us at the big international events. The first of course being DRX. DRX is a team with a long history. The same core was originally a team called Vision Strikers that you may have heard of since they went on the longest win streak ever of 102 official games. A truly crazy record that will likely never be beaten again. And while a locally achieved record may still be impressive, they got a lot more to show for it with their solid and as well as consistent performances at international events. No matter if it's Masters or Champions, this Korean squad has always managed to qualify and have shown up to play without fail. But I guess what people love most about this team, and I really can't fault them for it, is their beautiful to watch unique style of Valorant that you just really don't see anywhere else. DRX has a highly coordinated and often fast style of Valorant that's perfectly impossible to execute with your teammates in ranked. But as we can see from their games, it is possible in pro play with enough coordination and practice. They're truly pushing the limits when it comes to Valorant team play, and it's really cool to see their crazy strategies, retakes, and executions in live action. While nowadays their 100+ win streak might have been broken, they're still a team that's eternally dangerous and clearly hungry for their first international event win. This Korean super team led by Stax won't just go down without a fight, so don't be surprised when DRX starts knocking out some of your favorite teams out of Masters Tokyo. In fact, they've been third losing to Loud in lock-in and lost close games to both winners of Masters Reykjavik Stage 1 and Masters Copenhagen respectively. Maybe now's the time to get a little bit more lucky and win the whole thing. But there's more. Another team that ought to be on your radar is Paper Rex. PRX is of course well known for their unique and beautiful jerseys, also with their amazing stage walkouts that rival even Boaster, and lovable characters like Jing and Forsaken. But did you know that they also won the Pacific League? That's right, they beat DRX not once, but twice in a row, making them the big winners of the whole thing, instantly qualifying them for Masters Tokyo playoff stage together with other big names like Fnatic, Loud, and Liquid. And if you're a Paper Rex fan but don't have the time to watch all the games of all the regions, well, there's been some updates you'll probably want to hear about it. Since lock-in, Paper Rex has seen some big changes. Something, a player that was about smurfing in the Japanese split, was picked up for the roster, and he has slowly been replacing Benkai, who was previously the IGL for the squad. Now, the team claims that there's no set leader, with everyone, particularly the duelists, chipping in and doing their parts of the calling. Not exactly conventional at a pro level, but this approach seems to have actually been working quite well for them. So far, they've only lost one of their earlier games against DRX, but then, after a bit more time with the roster, they went on to beat them twice in a row like we mentioned. Paper Rex is looking stronger than ever, and whoever is going to be up against them is bound to have a tough time. Having said that, there is one small, or well maybe not so small issue though, and that's the visas. Paper Rex's latest and greatest addition in Something has not been able to acquire a visa as of yet, so there's a very real chance that they will have to play without him. No problem, right? We'll just bring back Benkai. Well, not exactly. Just a few days ago, Paper Rex announced that they're officially benching him, and they prepared CGRS as a potential substitute for Something. Sad news if you're a Benkai fan, but maybe there's still some hope as Benkai did travel to Tokyo together with the rest of the team. Regardless of if Benkai is able to play though, I really do hope Paper Rex is able to solve these visa issues, since if they do, the team is on a big winning streak right now and perhaps they're able to continue that streak all the way till the end of the tournament. Okay, now for our fifth pick, and this one's going to be a tough one. One team that has been looking insane as of late is Evil Geniuses. After introducing their latest addition in Demon 1, they went from having a terrible record and fighting teams like Sentinels for the bottom spots of the NA League, to completely turning it around, making playoffs and even qualifying for Masters Tokyo while simultaneously breaking the hearts of all the Cloud9 players, who before then had a nearly flawless record all season. Similar to Paper Rex's situation though, there was a bit of a problem with the visa issue where we weren't sure if Demon 1 was going to be able to make it until a couple days ago. They've managed to solve their visa issue since then, so we're going to see that insane jet in action in Tokyo. Two other strong contenders are both NRG and NaVi. NaVi is basically the old FPX roster that won the Masters Copenhagen, but minus Artis and sub in CNET instead. And NRG is the old Optic roster that won Masters Iceland event before Copenhagen, except it's missing Marv and Ye, who have been replaced by Sam and Artis. Being previous event winners, we have to give these teams the respect they're due, and acknowledge anything from them as possible. Going off of recent form alone, they might not be the top dogs right now, but things can quickly change, and if either of them go on a run, they're very much able to bring it home. That being said, for our fifth pick, we gotta go with another team, namely Liquid. Why Liquid, you might ask? Well, of course, they've always been a bit of a dark horse team, a bit like their logo, I guess. But also, like on paper, that team is so strong. They have some amazing players in Safe, Nats, and even Yampy. And finally, they seem to be proving that by being the first team to beat Fnatic this whole entire year, winning the European League in the process. Plus, don't forget, they beat them in a best of 5, where Fnatic had 2 bans and Liquid had no choice in the matter. So if they managed to bring the level they had in that EU final to Tokyo, you really should not be surprised if they win that whole event. Then again, as someone that's been watching Liquid for quite a while now, they do seem to enjoy choking quite a bit, so putting them on this list is a bit scary to say the least. Last lock-in, I remember them losing to Secret in the worst possible way, instantly getting eliminated. So let's hope that that doesn't happen again, and they're able to showcase more of their potential this time around. Well guys, that's all you need to know. Are there any high potential teams you feel like we missed? If so, make sure to comment them down below. Oh, and if you're from the future, so you already know who's gonna win, let us know as well. We want to see your predictions. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.